It says, all right, you know what? You guys elected us because everything's so unaffordable.
I will stand on top of a mountain. I will stand on top of a mountain and say, and directly into the eyes, I will do it right now. To every voter, I will look into the eyes of every voter right now and say, bread is evil and accepts human sacrifice so that you can have a cheap iPhone. And if you're willing to buy a cheap iPhone, knowing that people are committing mass, you stand along with them.
So I'm
and I will
evil because I disagree with you about trade policy?
Because you think there's an acceptable degree of mass suicide and concentration camps so that your economy can improve.
Tim Pool brought on a couple of woke idiots onto his show to have a debate. And of course, like I said in the title of this video, Tim Pool absolutely demolishes these woke idiots live on Timcast IRL. And as Destiny and his entire worldview is getting torn apart, of course, he is coping and seething and melting down about Tim Pool, who he has also said recently that he thinks Tim Pool should be thrown in jail for treason. That's hilarious coming from Destiny, but Destiny absolutely freaks out about his friend Brad Palumbo getting destroyed live on Timcast by Tim Pool. Let's check it out.
Here's a photo of the anti-suicide nuts.
So you just showed one terrible story from a country with billions of people and asked me if we should shut down trade with a whole country based on one anecdotal story from 2010 about one company in horrific conditions.
From this story, should we have shut down trade with China over, at this time, this specific incident occurring?
A whole country?
Yes.
Over one
company?
It's
a simple yes or no question.
No, we shouldn't.
Oh, bread is evil and accepts human sacrifice.
Tim Pool flipped out and called me evil just because I disagreed with him.
You are saying you accept a certain degree of mass
I like how everything is a crash out these days.
suicide so that your graph go up.
That is not what I'm saying.
So you think we should
maybe we should sanction trade with Foxconn. Maybe we should restrict trade in that industry. Maybe that specific region of China you suspend. It's horrible. It's evil. China's evil. I don't know what you're trying to make me say about
we should not do trade
with anything with China. Okay, you explain that to Americans when every single thing they rely on and buy gets more expensive after years of inflation under Biden.
I will.
You come in, MAGA comes in and says, all right, you know what? You guys elected us.
Also, keep in mind, unless somebody has a link to how this is possible otherwise, I'm pretty sure targeted tariffs on countries do not work because they will always just come through another country. You have no way to validate that supply chain in a way that you can enforce that tariff in any reasonable way. That's why you have to tariff the entire sector, well, unless you're trying to sanction somebody. We're not necessarily trying to tariff. They're trying to like just target and fuck over one country. Although I don't even know if the country would be fucked over. They're still like distributing it through other countries. Because you just end up paying more for it.
Inflation under Biden.
I will.
You come in. MAGA comes in.
Oh, also, wait. I haven't finished this video yet. Tim might do it here, but I just want to get ahead just in case. And if he doesn't, it will be coming, and it is true. Eventually, conservatives will be saying that paying more for things is good. It's actually okay. It's good to be paying more for. It's good to be paying more for goods and services. Even though they said the tariffs wouldn't make stuff more expensive, even though they said it'd be good for the economy, they're going to say actually it is going to cost more, but that's okay. That's a good thing that it's costing more.
It says, all right, you know what? You guys elected us because everything's so unaffordable.
I will stand on top of a mountain. I will stand on top of a mountain and say, and directly into the eyes, I will do it right now. To every voter, I will look into the eyes of every voter right now and say, bread is evil and accepts human sacrifice so that you can have a cheap iPhone. And if you're willing to buy a cheap iPhone, knowing that people are committing mass suicide, you stand along with them.
So I'm
and I will
evil
stand on the
because
other
I
side.
disagree with you about trade policy?
Because you think there's an acceptable degree of mass suicide and concentration camps so that your economy can improve.
I don't think that. Your shadow box.
I don't know if it's necessarily evil to think that, but it definitely is extremely hypocritical because these people just, and this is what I can't stand, right? About the left and the right as well. But most, obviously the left is way worse when it comes to this, but the right does it sometimes too. And it really pisses me off. And it's frustrating because you're not even allowed to call it out when the contradictions happen, when you're supposed to be on the right wing, and then, the right wing contradicts itself and you can't say anything. But in this particular instance, it's Destiny, this guy, Brad Palumbo, that Tim Pool is calling out. They contradict themselves so much because they just pick and choose so much about what they actually want to care about and what they don't want to care about. And so they claim to say, like, I'm against genocide, right? The trans genocide in America is happening. We must stop it. But then when there's actual genocide happening, like the Uyghur Muslims in China and things like that, they don't care, And then this is one that I agree with, sort of. I think that there is really bad things happening in the Middle East, and I have to dance around certain words because you're not even allowed to call out these people. You're not even allowed to call out that country over in the Middle East. But there's really bad things happening in the Middle East to a certain side. And America is supporting the side that is committing these atrocities. And there's a lot of people on the right wing that are defending it. And so both sides just have this like pick and choose what we actually stand for mentality. And so many people get so mad in the comments, and I low-key love to see it. It's funny to watch whenever I say, yeah, we're all anti-war, right? We're all anti-war. Everybody on the right wing is like America first, anti-war, all this stuff. And then they're not very anti-war whenever it comes to the Middle East. All of a sudden, everybody turns into Ben Shapiro, and they're like, yeah, we must defend that certain country that I can't even name because I get in trouble if I name it. We must send all our money over there to slaughter the other side. It's wild, man. And then they're in Ukraine. When it comes to the Russia-Ukraine thing, they're like, oh no, pull our money out of there. No, we're anti-war. We're America first. Then it comes to the Middle East, and it just completely flip-flops. The left wing does it too. The left wing does it way worse. But I'm just so tired of the pick and choosing thing. It just shows you that these people are not principled people. Because if you have a principle, if you have a moral that you stand by, you don't pick and choose whenever that moral and that principle stands. It just always is there, right? Like murder is bad. We all kind of agree. Most people out there agree that murder is bad. And so therefore, you don't pick and choose whenever murder is bad. It's just always bad. But then there's certain people who are like, genocide is bad, except for this instance right here. You know, this is where we can accept it a little bit, right, guys? But it's bad in every other case. Like, that's not a principle. You're just picking and choosing whenever you want to say something is bad so that your side can gain something, whether it's financially or gain power politically, whatever. And that's what frustrates me the most about these people. People like Destiny, this Brad Palumbo guy, they're so bad faith.
Boxing with a caricature.
Like the Uyghur stuff was already happening in Trump term 1, no? When did the Uyghur stuff start? There's a bit longer of the Brad Tim convo. Oh my God.
I will look into the eyes of every voter right now and say Brad is evil.
I'll be honest, I think Tim Pool has some anger issues. Take a listen to this clip where I try to explain why I think tariffs do more.
I talked to Brad before. I don't remember on whose show it was. But
Tim Pool is he's a passionate guy, and lately he has been like really going off on people, but you gotta appreciate the passion, right? You gotta just appreciate the passion, because a lot of people, they don't have that passion. So I appreciate it. And that's why it seems like Tim Pool is one of the ones that actually cares about the causes that he's talking about, where there's a lot of other companies out there that are not Timcast that I'm not going to name. I don't feel like doing it because you guys get so mad whenever I call out your favorite YouTuber for grifting. But a lot of these people only care about money, and they don't care at all about the causes that they talk about. And you can very obviously tell that Tim Pool is actually passionate about the stuff that he talks about. So I got to respect it.
He seemed like a real life human being. Very few people in this industry are like real life human beings, but he seems like a real life human being that has like real life conversations, whereas Tim is like an actor.
More harm than good. And Tim literally just says he doesn't care about facts or data. Take a listen. You cannot put the genie back in the bottle when it comes to trade. Steel is a great example. President Trump tried to in his first term. He put tariffs on steel imports from our allies and from other countries in order to try to increase domestic steel production. And it worked a little bit, right? You had a little bit of an increase in U.S. steel production. But actual, and research on this is overwhelming, actual employment in U.S. manufacturing overall suffered. Multiple times more jobs were destroyed than created because the cost went up in all the other industries that have steel as an input cost. So other manufacturing industries lost jobs. So steel could be protected a little bit. More people lost jobs and lost income.
So like Brad is running into an issue here because he's trying to debate like econ, but the other guy is just like a populist rhetorician, basically. So Tim is never responding with substance to any of these points. It's just going to be, okay, well, how can I maneuver this into tariff good? And that's it. Like tariff good. The tariff is good because Trump wants it. So we have to defend the tariff. Oh, I guess that's probably why he starts sewing the out and screaming.
In all the industries that rely on steel as an input cost. It's a huge net negative to American society. And it protected some people who are well-connected.
And so what you're describing is what I call the heroin addiction economy, where it's let's continually gut and destroy the root of labor in this country for short-term gains in other areas. I don't care.
Short-term gains? Is that how you would describe the United States as all short-term gains? What do you mean?
If a top-level company is going to decrease a little bit, if it's going to restore the base and foundation of jobs in this country. So
you don't care about policies that destroy
I don't care about the fruits of the poisonous tree. And saying now that...
Well, I do.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
The fruits of the poisonous tree? What the fuck are you talking about?
Great. And that will lead to destruction of this country.
I mean, the hyperbole at the end there is just quite something. Opposing steel tariffs will lead to the destruction of this country. I don't think so, Tim. I actually think we'll be okay either way. Now, my point here, just to explain if you couldn't get it from the brief clip, because I, again, wasn't allowed very much time to speak, is that Trump tried tariffs when he was president, and he put tariffs on steel imports coming into the country in hopes of protecting steel jobs in the steel industry here in the US. And it did do that to some extent. About 1,000 jobs in the steel industry increased after those tariffs. But as many as 75,000 other jobs were lost in other manufacturing sectors where they rely on steel as an input and their costs went up. So you protected some jobs, but overall more jobs were lost. That was my...
How does Trump misinform the public on foreign entities paying for a tariff? I'm 25 and people have gone their whole lives without knowing what the difference between import tax and tariffs. Yeah, well, most people never deal with that as an American. But the important thing to remember is, and you have to remember this, and it's already coming if it hasn't already, MAGA doesn't care. MAGA, it's kind of part of the, I don't want to associate this with the neo-Nazi talking point, because it's really not, but it's the economics talking point. A lot of these people are getting suckered into, they don't care about economics, because the economics of the United States are pretty good. They never cared about the economics. They care about the intangibles, the culture, and they're willing to take economic hits to have what they consider to be a better culture. Now, Trump will talk about economics, but it's just like that's like a virtue signal for think tanks or something. The important thing is the culture. So if it ever comes down to a point to where we can fuck our economy over a little bit to have big culture gains, MAGA will always be in favor of that. MAGA will be in favor of that. Not just Trump, but MAGA will follow Trump there. So just remember that, because it could be coming, or maybe it's already coming, but yeah.
My point that these things do more harm than good, and there's lots of data and facts and research to back that idea up. Now, you could disagree.
Am I missing something? Isn't the argument about tariffs is that we want to protect domestic industry by making our industry more competitively priced relative to foreign competitive? No. What are you talking about? No. What do you mean? We are competitive. We have the largest GDP in the world. We've got a big GDP per capita. We're the foundation of a ton of innovation, from pharmaceuticals to tech to software to
yeah, massive cope whenever you get called out by your chat. That's my opinion anyway. Let me know in the comments still what you guys think. Not only about Tim Pool destroying Brad Palumbo, what do you think about Destiny's reaction to Tim Pool destroying Brad Palumbo and destroying Destiny's entire worldview when it comes to this tariff stuff? Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Destiny versus Tim Pool situation.